two.
It takes a village. I always tell you, it takes a village to raise a leader. And I'm so happy for my village because I certainly couldn't do this without you. So first of all, for all of you that have hopped on board, Chris and I are just so excited to have you all with us tonight. It's really a special call. It's our first major call of the year where we get together with all of the national marketing directors. And so we just wanted to really quickly, you want to do this?
I'll have you go through the list, but
Yeah.
there's a few things I wanted to say first.
Okay,
So
he's going first.
Yeah, exceptional times. And so thank you all for joining us. This will be hard for a lot of you to believe because we've been around a while, but I am more excited about this upcoming year than I've been about any year in a long time. And of course, it helps that we just finished our best year in 50 years, right? And another really exciting thing for Nikki and I is that this month, 30 years ago, is when we went to work for this company. And we signed up on Halloween night in 1990, but went to work on January 2nd of 1991. And so it's been a fun run. And as you've heard some of us say, the best is still yet to come. And so another great thing about what's going on tonight is that we're so excited to have Sue Burdick with us, who's Nikki's my sponsor. So we have the leadership from above, and then we have about 15 of our leaders here on the call with their teams. And so do you want to recognize who that leadership is?
I do. I just wanted to really quickly just say, who our HEAT NMDs are, because we are so grateful for them and what they've created with their own teams, and we feel so incredibly blessed. And for those of you that may be new a little bit to this call, the HEAT, heart, energy, authenticity, and tribe. And that's who we are, and that's what the HEAT stands for. So
in alphabetical order.
Yeah, we're going to go right down it. So Alita's here. If you want to raise your hand when I say your name, of course, there's a lot of people on here, so I don't know if you'll see you, but Alita Spire, Alexis Busselman, Beverly Grandison, one of our newest national marketing directors, Carolyn Swanger, Chris Cotton, Debbie and Jerry Rudloff, Lenora Bayless, Melissa Falco, Michelle Grinsing, me, Sandy Abrams, Stephanie Cleveland, and Tyra Wiebe. And we did not announce, because we figured we would just put a little bit of a spotlight on her, Jennifer Straub, our newest HEAT team national marketing director. So Jennifer, do you think in just like 2 or 3 sentences, give us some of your Jennifer wisdom, anything that you'd like to share with us? I know I'm totally putting you on the spot. Just
became national marketing director in December.
Yes, you're putting me on the spot. And the one thing of wisdom is always be ready on the spot. You never know what's going to happen. No, longevity. I mean, it took me 18 years to get to NMD, and I realized it's not my plan, it's God's plan. And what I love is my upline support all the way up have been loving me every step of the way. And my family prioritized a few times where I would step back, and everybody was always here for me no matter what. So the only way to fail is to quit. And if you put your heart to it, no matter how long your journey is and how windy the road is, it's well worth it to get there.
Wow.
All right.
Jennifer, for being on the spot, you're absolutely remarkable. Great job. Now I got to find you to take that spotlight off. Oh, there we go. Remote spotlight.
Okay.
That's an easy way to do it.
So we might run just a few minutes over since I took a little bit of time from you, Paulo. But let's jump in because we are chomping at the bit, and you're the man that with the view of the future. So we're excited to have you with us. For those of you that have not met Paulo, he is our CEO, Chief Executive Officer. And I'll just throw in I just got this link thinking about it, Paulo, that, we didn't come in from inspiration 30 years ago. We came in from desperation, losing the house, 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. I heard about this company. I went to investigate it 5 weekends in a row. I watched people talk and they were doing really good financially, but I wasn't really sure. But twice in those 5 weekends, I met Jay. And one thing, after the second time we met him, I just called Nikki and I said, we're throwing our marbles in this hat. This guy's got integrity. This man has vision. We didn't know then about his heart. And we just said, we're following him. And the reason I'm using that as part of your introduction is I'm pretty sure you had a similar situation. But my understanding is if Jay thought you were the man for the job, you must be the man for the job. So
I want to add one more quick thing, can I?
Sure.
Is we were all a little nervous when you came into the picture, because Jay was our guy. Like, who was going to keep our vision? Who was going to keep the heart? Who was going to do the direction? And we were all looking, a little bit nervous. And I have to say, after I think it's 5 years, maybe 6. I don't even know. My timeline's always off. We could not be happier, and every worry that we had did not need to be worried about, because you have the heart and the vision, and we are so happy and proud to have you here tonight.
Well, our future is in good hands with you, Paulo. Okay.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. And well, time flies when you're having fun. It's actually been 12 years now.
That's what I was thinking.
I said 5.
We should check.
Yeah, yeah. I joined as Chief Operating Officer back in 2008, and then been serving as CEO since 2012. But time flies when you're having fun. So I take that as a compliment, and thanks for the kind words.
Yeah, well, we're so excited, and I know you're part of this new big charge. And I'm just going to jump right in with some questions, okay, Paulo?
You know what?
Yeah, I would like to just before you jump in, Chris, is just to say, first of all, Happy New Year to everybody. It's thanks for having me. It's an honor to be talking to you in your first big call of the year. I'll tell you, I am not normally one to be up at midnight on December 31st because I go to bed early. But this year I took a nap, and I was up at midnight because I wanted to make absolutely sure that the clock was not going to get stuck. So I was there with a glass of champagne and celebrating the fact that the clock actually did move into 2021. No, seriously, 2020. It was a good year for the company, and no question about it. Chris, you just mentioned that in the opening, but it was a tough year emotionally for everybody, even for those of us, all of us in the company. It was tough to navigate, not being able to be with people and do what we do the way we used to do. So I was ready for 2021. So welcome to 2021, and let's get the show started.
All right, thank you. And what I've been saying about 2021 is it gives you a perfect 2020 hindsight, which is a good thing.
That was the first time ever that at 12:01 of 2021 is that 2020 was in hindsight.
Yeah. Very good. So Paulo, really our chief, I think it's called revenue officer, right? Sean Hopkins is one that I've heard say that, here's a company with 50 years track record of success, 50-year-old company with a startup mentality. And so can you explain what you think that means and why that is important? Yeah,
totally. I'm actually going to weave that a little bit into what Jennifer was talking about when you put her on the spot, because I think it was perfect. And I appreciate those words. We have been around 50 years. And we are a company that has longevity as a value. There's no question about it. But what does that mean, right? It really means that we make decisions for the long term. If you kind of watched us make, decisions and whatnot, a lot of times you would see that we're not making decisions that short term would be the most profitable or the most, prolific. But we are making decisions always thinking long term. But we act with a sense of urgency. We act like a startup. We act like tomorrow, like there is no tomorrow. We need to get it done today. It's not always possible. Jennifer was talking about her journey here, but when it is possible, you need to hit the ground running. And so we definitely act with a sense of urgency. We have that energy, if you will, of a startup. And we're working very, very hard on putting in place a lot of things in 2021 and beyond. We'll talk about the beyond in a little bit, that will continue to keep the momentum of this company going forward, essentially sowing the seeds for the future. The first thing that we need to talk about a little bit is our transition in the so-called all things digital. And let's be frank about it. I know it's not being smooth. But we are throwing the kitchen sink at it. It's an absolutely necessary step for us to debottleneck what the company can be in the future in what I'm calling our Vision 2025, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in the call. And so we are going to smooth this out. You just need to bear with us on this. We still have the classic VO there, but this transformation is humongous, and it's absolutely necessary to get this company ready for the next step. So that is on the forefront for all of us. Also, this focus on qualifiers, going into the summer is something that we're very excited about. And some folks who have the privilege of seeing something that has never really been shown before. Many people have seen Juice Plus being made in terms of being encapsulated and put in bottles, put in boxes, but nobody has actually seen live Juice Plus being made with all the, when you talk about fruits, you're talking about all the peel and macerating everything together and dehydrating that at low temperatures and preserving the nutritional value. So that invitation for top qualifiers to come to Chicago sometime in July to witness this and get some amazing training along with their leaders and whatnot is going to be a real special event, and more likely than not, our first live event of this calendar year. So we're super excited about that. Also, as you've seen in the Winter Summit this past Saturday, the new look and feel for our logo and our Juice Plus packaging and the evolution of our branding, if you will, is something exciting. Not to mention the improvements in the product line, rounding up the complete product line a little bit with an item with a product with a higher punch in terms of protein, and also a product that has protein that's not soy-based, that has been clamored by the field for quite a while. And we have been spending quite a bit of time and resources in the R&D of that. And we're finally going to be able to deploy that. So lots of things coming in 2021, acting with a sense of urgency. Some of you have heard me say in 2020, we added $100 million to our top line globally. Wow. And that's in the year of the pandemic. I mean, that is not to sneeze at. It's amazing. And I see the potential for us to do the same amount again in 2021, just 2021, with the things that we have got, that we've got going. So sense of urgency is there for us, and continuing to move the ball forward, but always thinking long term. So no procrastination, but thinking long term.
Great.
That's what that means in terms of being entrepreneurial.
Thank you.
Long-winded answer.
This question may be very similar. You kind of touched on it, that over the last 50 years, I think we've always said, we were saying last year is a $15 billion company, and we were getting close to doing $1 billion in 2020. I don't know if we hit that, but we're somewhere in the vicinity of 16 billion. Is that correct?
Yeah, through life, since the company was founded, we are well north of 15 billion. I don't have the exact number in front of me. I meant to research that, but I'll, guilty as charged, I did not. But we are somewhere between 15 and 16 billion dollars in sales, and we are scaring $1 billion a year in sales right now.
Yeah, well, that's very, very exciting. And where I'm really going with this, Paulo, is I believe Sean at the Winter Summit mentioned that we're looking to double that in the next 5 years. Can you shine a little light on that? Yeah,
totally. That's definitely our ambition here. We have doubled in size to where we are now in the last 6 to 7 years. And our ambition here, which we're calling our Vision 2025, is to do that again in the next 5, 6, 7 years. It depends on a number of parameters here, but that's what we are going to do. And we believe, from the bottom of our hearts here, that 85, 90%, pick a high number, of the seeds that are necessary for that, the seeds that needed to be sown for that they are in place. And so we are excited about the possibilities here, and just giving you a little bit of a preview of something that's going to come a little bit later in the year, maybe in the spring. We'll talk a little bit more about this, is this thing that we're calling our Vision 2025. And in a nutshell, we are talking about doubling the business by the end of 2025 from where we are today. And there are a couple of numbers that make sense to remember. How are we going to do that? By achieving 2.5 million customers. So 2025, 2.5 million customers, right? There's the number 25 there. Another one that is easy to remember is we're going to achieve that by getting to 250,000 partners worldwide. So again, that number 25, resonating out there. And one that doesn't have a number 25, but between 2 and 3, so you can say 2.5, but that doesn't exist. We're going to open 2 or 3 more large countries, large markets for us. Between Brazil, Russia, and Indonesia, we are going to clock at least 2 of those in the next several years. So we're very ambitious about this. And the thing that we're doing right now, as we're calling this the Vision 2025, is we are determining steps along the way during which we are going to not only share with the field, but we're going to celebrate with the field as we achieve some benchmarks for the next, several years in the direction of the 2025 vision. So we're very excited about it. Like I said, I think that the seeds have been sown. There are some we need to add a few here and there, but by and large we're there, and that makes it a great time to really put the effort in and to re-energize yourselves or energize yourselves. Yeah. Because companies don't grow like you would put a percentage on a spreadsheet. Companies grow like humans. It's a very organic thing. Companies grow in growth spurts, and I think we are on the verge of another major growth spurt, just like the one that we've gone through that doubled the business. And so that makes it a fertile ground to, put the effort in and to sow your own seeds, because I guarantee you that the NMDs, the PMDs, EMDs, IMDs of the future are probably SCs or QSCs or whatever listening to this call right now or listening to that's what happens. And so it's a good time. It's a good time to put the effort in.
Thank you for that. And that's pretty, I think you closely covered what my next question was. I'm going to throw it out there and see if there's anything you want to add, and then we'll continue. We know from our experience and our other leadership that's here with us tonight that, we all had this incredible growth. All the teams had this incredible growth in 2020 as the company did. And from what's going on the planet, there's never been more people aware of their health and the importance of it. And the necessity and intelligence of having a plan B, of taking your financial future into your own hands, has never been stronger. So I'm kind of saying already what you were alluding to is that it's never been easier. And also, it's never been more important. I think Sean calls it our product and our business has never been more relevant. So do you want to expand a little bit on why that is? And just that, I guess.
Yeah, sure, Chris. I think, the year 2020 was a difficult year in a number of ways, but we should never allow an opportunity or a challenge, not an opportunity, but a challenge or a crisis to go to waste. And I think the one thing that happened, not to us, but I'll get to how that impacts us in a minute, is that a lot of what we talk about in terms of health, in terms of wellness, in terms of taking care of yourself, but also in terms of having alternative sources of income and the ability to work from anywhere and have flexibility on how you work and your time. All of that went from being an intellectual conversation for most people when we talk to them to being very emotional, because people were, they were punched in the gut with what happened in 2020 and the pandemic and whatnot. So I think the conversation went from being intellectual to being emotional. And as such, I think people are more receptive to having a conversation and to understanding what we are doing, what we are trying to say, and how our business operates. So And that's not going anywhere. I mean, the memory of that is not going anywhere for a long time. I mean, there's a negative side of that, because that is, the fact that the year was a difficult year. But that memory and the emotional memory of what it means to take care of yourself and the need to have flexibility on your income is going to be there as well. So continue to be there as well for a while. So I think it created an amazing environment for us to be able to talk to people at a different level. So I think that is not going anywhere, and that is an incredible opportunity that will continue even as the pandemic hopefully abates towards the next few months in the second half of the year, and so on and so forth. People will remember what happened,
Mhm.
and that creates a great chance, a great opportunity for us.
Yes, and I think also along with that, you mentioned the conversations, and I think people are starved for connection. And one of the comments we're hearing a lot is that
No
there's
question.
not much more, that's not as much small talk as there used to be. Conversations are going deeper. And now physically people need the connection, but certainly what we can really do safely is reach out by phone and have that heart-to-heart connection and see where it goes. See where people
Yeah,
stand.
our business, as you all know, it's such a business of relationships, and relationships um, acquired a new character during this last year. My conversations, I think you just said that, Chris, are going deeper, and
Mhm.
people are getting to what matters. The crux of the matter quicker. In part because of Zoom. Zoom has actually created an interesting. A lot of the chit chat that was around the normal conversation at a coffee shop has been cut out, and now people get to straight to the point, which is fascinating for me to observe. But I think once again that people are more receptive to talking about deeper things,
Mhm.
and that's our wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So relationships and getting to what really matters.
I want
Right.
to add one thing to that. The Winter Summit this year felt, I was amazed at how intimate and personal it felt. Like Janet was in my house. Every person that spoke was in my house with me. And although conference is amazing and energetic and all the things that conference was, there was something very intimate, personal, and very deeply connected for me at the Winter Summit, which I did not expect because we've had other events. But this one,
Right.
maybe it was the way it was slowed down a little bit and person to person, but it was amazing in terms of that level that we're talking about.
That reminds me that in our
Thanks for
30
saying that.
years and I don't know, 75 conferences that we've been to, we've always said that this one was better than the one before, this was better than the one before. And now we're corporate, as you guys are doing the same thing with your virtual presentations. You're getting better and better. So we appreciate that. Nikki has a few questions she wanted to ask you, but before I let you go, so what advice with all of this perfect timing and all this poised for success that we are, what advice do you have for the new people and for the veterans? And maybe it's all the same, but what would you say?
Yeah, well, I'm going to say that's a good one. I would say it's a little bit of the same, but they need to be understood somewhat differently depending on where you are on your journey, whether you're a veteran Juice Plus person or you're just beginning. But it's really a four-step thing for me. It's a four-step plan. It's a four-step journey. One is the first one is find your why, and everybody knows about that. But the way I like to talk about it is there are really two whys. If you're in the business, there are really two whys that are interwoven, right? There is the passion, which is the passion for health and the passion for helping others. And then there is the ambition, and that is what you want the business to do for you, along your journey within the Juice Plus company. And having a why that relates to each one of those, the ambition and the passion, is a must. And keeping those two parameters in parallel is even more important. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. If the passion for health and helping others gets too far ahead of the ambition portion of it, normally what happens is you get somewhat during that time, you get somewhat stuck and in your progress in the business. And customer And we love you for that, but you're not going to advance your business as much. So that ambition needs to be there. On the other hand, if the ambition gets ahead of the passion by too much, you're going to be looking for greener pastures, and you're going to be trying to be a real estate agent somewhere else or something, because you've lost that that passion that you held for health and for helping others. And so in those two things that need to be in parallel, one gets too far ahead of the other, it creates a tension that a lot of times breaks things. And so my first step on a recommendation is not only find your why on your ambition and your passion, but make sure that they walk step by step in parallel. So that's one.
Fantastic.
The second one is the obvious that Jay Martin, our founder, talks about all the time, is find a buddy. And the main reason for a buddy is you have somebody there that's holding you accountable for the decisions that you made that you're not following, right? It's really holding you accountable against procrastination. And find a buddy, somebody that you can draw energy from, and that can draw energy from you to move things forward. The third one would be listen and share, but in that order. A lot of times, amongst us, we forget the God-given proportions of 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we have a tendency to over-talk to people instead of listening to what their needs are, what their anxieties are, what their desires are, and then reacting to that with compassion and with understanding and connecting that way. That is by far the best way. So listening twice as much as we talk is a great way to develop that relationship, understanding what the needs are of the person that we're talking to. And last but not least is the obvious, right? It's the attitude of the startup is don't procrastinate, because it is the kiss of death. And making a list is not really, it's the ability to differentiate between income producing activities and just activities. Making a list doesn't produce any income, it doesn't help anybody, it doesn't advance the world. Calling the people on that list, yeah, that works.
Yeah.
But just making a list and checking it twice, but not reaching out to the phone or to the Zoom or to the coffee shop, that doesn't work, right? So avoiding procrastination. So it's only those 4 things, the why in its ambition and passion, defining the buddy, the listening more than talking, and acting with a sense of urgency and avoiding procrastination. It's simple, but that's what it is. And you guys know this better than I do.
Well, I really, really appreciate that. And I feel that between us 60 years with the company, we don't hear much new stuff, right? But the idea of the ambition parallel with the passion, that was fantastic. I mean, it was all good. It's all really sharp. We appreciate it. But that one got me. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of clarity there. So I'm starting to get famous, I think, for putting people on the spot. And so I'm going to put you on the spot tonight. And so what I think is really fun is
I thought that's where I lived.
perfect. You're going to have so much fun.
Probably.
So I can just think that after a couple of Elton Awards and leaving Elton's and bumping into you and your wife and just getting to talk to you, and as we're really relaxed at the end of the evening, because we've had a lot of sparkling cider, just that, and I feel like there's a little bit of a warmth and a connection that I have for you that would not happen if otherwise not for those moments. And so
Totally.
I kind of want to give everybody on the call some of those moments. So my first question to you is, what is some of your favorite music? What do you most like to listen to?
Oh my goodness. I died in the 70s and 80s from a musical standpoint. So you name something from the 70s and 80s and I'm there. If you name something from the 2000s and forward, I probably won't even know about it, even though I have gotten to like, and I know this is completely sappy and crazy, but things by Taylor Swift and things like that I've learned to like. But I died in the 70s and 80s. So.
Yeah, well, I'm the 60s and 70s. I've been re-listening to the Byrds and Buffalo Springfield and everything from like 65 to 70. I'm back in that, and you know what? I finally accepted it. That's what I love, and I listen to it all the time. So, okay.
I drive my son crazy when he comes to visit and I'm playing those things and it's like, Dad, you know.
Yeah. One of my girls feels like that. She loves it. She says, I should have been born then. And the other one goes, Mom, enough. So next one, some of your most favorite recent books that you've read.
Well, I don't read a whole lot of business books, to be honest with you. I read the abstract. I mean, most business books, I have the sense that people wake up in the morning with a good idea to convey, and then they do that in about 20 pages, but they're committed to a 200-page book. So they repeat themselves for the, following 180 pages. So I don't do that. I read a lot of biographies, and most recently, the one that's actually on my nightstand is a book called Shark Drunk. And but I explain. It's about two friends that go out in Norway, and their experience that they're looking for is to fish for a Greenland shark, which is the second biggest after the great white shark. And its meat is not even edible, because if you eat that meat, it's so laced with nitrogen that it makes you feel drunk. It gets you inebriated. It's not an edible thing. But the book is not really about hunting for the shark or fishing for the shark. It's about friendships and their dialogue and what is happening in the ecosystem along the coast of Norway, and the peoples and the fishermen and all of that. Fishing for the shark is just fodder and background for that. And I'm enjoying the heck out of it. I'm about 2/3 of the way through.
Great. And I'm a big fiction reader. I do both, but I've got some favorites right now that I'm totally loving. Last question. And this, who knows, this may be the easiest part, is what is it that you love most about our Juice Plus company?
By far, it's the people. It's, the products are amazing, the business is amazing, but it's the people and it's the sense of community. I never thought that this, which we have, existed. I come from a world that is, let's say, call it traditional business. I spent, 25 years before Juice Plus doing that, 27 years actually. And this sense of community and everybody working together and wanting everybody else to succeed, by and large, is something that doesn't exist out there. And we just don't know how special this is, and it feeds me. I mean, that's why I love to do what I do and stay connected. It's by far the people.
Thank you.
And it really shows. And so Chris is going to close this up. Thank you so much, Paulo. I don't know what Chris is going to say yet, but when Chris is done, I want everybody to unmute themselves when he's done and just give your one favorite word about this call. What's inspired you? How do you feel about it? And then if you're open, we have a 7 o'clock Take Healthy Back, which is enormous because it's going to be cooking with class, dress up, and hear about health and learn a new recipe. So Chris, close it up for us.
Well, Paulo, thank you so much. We asked that question to a few people before we got started tonight, and there was a lot of the love for the company. And I know, because I use this almost daily on my connection calls, that we have a little kind of a love bubble, and it all started with Jay Martin, and it all came down the leash, and we've created together, corporate and the distributor base, this incredible bubble of supporting each other. And so again, thank you for that. I'm going to turn it over to everybody to say goodbye, but it sums up the quote that I've been using a lot this year already, which is, remember, and especially with this, that success is a team sport.
Absolutely.
It's a team sport. So
Hey, Bob. Hey, Sue.
hey, Bob and Sue, there they are, the top of the heap. It's good to see you. And let's all acknowledge our one word for Paulo.
Hey.
Real.
Awesome.
Joy.
Awesome.
Incredible.
Authenticity.
Passion.
Inspiring.
Grateful.
Inspiring.
Integrity. Inspiring.
Dedicated.
Inspirational.
Inspiring.
Thank you. That's amazing.
Thanks.
Grateful.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
You guys.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank
All
you.
right, everybody.
Thank you,
Good
Paula.
luck to everybody, and we'll see you next week on our next Tuesday call for those of you that are going to join us. And again, Powell, thank you so much. It was amazing tonight.
Keep the love
Thank you.
flowing.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Leaders.
Bye. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Love you guys.